everyone. I'm just going to introduce the program. So hello and thank you for joining our virtual circle. This is where we have conversations with wired women, and the term that we coined for trend-setting women who have successfully started or have run a company. So in the broadcast, I will want to explore the mindset of women who are breaking and or are trend-setting and breaking barriers as thought leaders. We also want to discover how these exceptional women have run their businesses and how they organize their inner lives to thrive in their professional lives. So what does it take to innovate? Let me introduce you to our first thought leader, a young lady all the way from Zambia joining us today, and I will let her introduce herself in her own words. Over to you. Who is Jessie?
Jessie Chisi is a filmmaker, recently a wife. For the past 2 years, I've been a wife. But literally, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a trailblazer. I just love to be in the creative space. I'm known for making movies. I've worked on a couple of movies in Zambia, ranging from documentaries, features, TV series. And I currently run an organization called Zambia Short Film Festival, which is like a festival that teaches upcoming filmmakers. I've been running it for the past 7 years. So I've trained over 250 young people who have 90% been in employment, which
wow. Can we hit pause on that, Jessie? That is so amazing. So before you carry on telling me all that juicy stuff that I'm so excited to hear, can you tell me what your authentic story is? How did you get here?
So how did I get here? Literally, when I was in high school, I didn't have so much reference, in terms of who to look up to, in terms of people who looked like me and wanted to do things like I do right now. I didn't have a specific person I would say, look, I want to be a filmmaker like that. All I knew that I wanted to tell stories. And because I live in a society where art is not really appreciated, it's not the
what do you mean by art? What kind of art form?
Like being a filmmaker, you're not really appreciated because it's something, it's a hobby. If you do something like that, your parents or your guardians will think, oh, you can't follow that path. You won't be great in life. So it was always hard to get into that sphere. So I saw myself just went to varsity to please my grandparents.
Right. What did you study in university?
Then I was studying purchasing and supply.
All right.
Because
that's traditional. That's what is expected, right?
Yeah, because it's a good job course. You could do it immediately. You find employment, but I was so miserable. So I saw myself in school to go search to find film.
Wow,
so
that's interesting.
I would run from the actual, school, which was like regional campus at that time. Then I would go to Zamcom to go check if they've got courses for media or film. We don't really have an actual film school. So what was closest to that was me learning television production.
Right. So so let's explore that a little bit, because that you've just opened up, you've just unpinned the concept of the woman that breaks barriers, your mindset. So can we explore that mindset? What is it? What's in your superpower too that made you think and realize that I am not this where you're putting me, I'm not in that box, I belong in that box? How did you discover that, and how did you come out of it?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So obviously, as human, you have, your desires. That just didn't sit well with me. I made sure I passed purchasing. I was like one of the best students in class. I was always the first top class, but it made me so miserable. I felt I just wanted to tell stories. When I sat around me, those stories of women like me, stories were marginalized, never been taught. I just felt I want to do this. And I was at a point where I just didn't care what my guardians thought. I was raised out. I was given an ultimatum. I just went to my grandfather and told him, I don't want to do purchasing and supply. Sorry, I'm in level 2, but I'm not going ahead. And it's like, okay, fine. You're on your own. We won't pay for you.
So,
if that's what you want,
yeah,
you want to do, then I'll.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. Yeah.
Now, then I went on. I just found myself, walking to spaces of art just to look for someone who could understand me. Then I stumbled upon a woman called Catherine Kaseketi. She's Zambia's woman director, and she sort of like, look, I want to mentor you. Then through her mentorship, I started realizing that my voice was actually really important for me to follow what I want, what I want to do. So through her steps, I began to grow,
So that is so amazing, Jessie. Your story is so empowering. I'm just going to I want us to unpack the part that you talked about. You got mentored by Catherine. And recently I just read this book that is The Digital Marketer. And it talks about mentoring is mutually beneficial to mentee and the mentor. And according to Wendy Murphy, mentees benefit from from greater clarity about professional identity, increased satisfaction, higher salaries, faster promotions, and additional career opportunities. It goes on to say mentors report higher career satisfaction, salaries, more recognition, visibility, and meaning in their work. So the reason why I wanted to unpack this, because it's very true to you. It's very applicable to you. So you were mentored and now you are a mentor. So can you unpack for our listeners' sake, how that is true to you?
Yeah, I think many of the attributes that I have of my life comes from Catherine Kaseketi, because she taught us the value of raising other people.
By the way, I know who Catherine is.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So when I sort of like found my foot in the grounds of filmmaking, I felt like why at that time I was in Finland. I was like, why don't I go back home in Zambia and contribute? So it started like a small little project. Like then I started mentoring. Today, it's so amazing how many young people, women, both women and young boys I've mentored. It's reaching. If I don't do it in a course of every year, I just feel incomplete, but all that comes from a more deeper rooted, situation which happened in my past when someone really opened their arms and were able to
and embrace you.
The doors, the opportunities. And this is what we need as a society, to pass on the mantle so that you grow, you grow beyond your sphere, you grow beyond your space. You can contribute to communities, to that. And I think also the people that I've trained, most of them are even doing better than me.
That's absolutely the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, which is because I have like one mentee which we mentored through the trainings. She's having also her show coming on Netflix, and I was like, wow, I'm not even there, but it makes me so happy to see that
so blessed.
Absolutely. Like most of the young people, like in the television situation in Zambia, I could almost point every other production, that's my training, and that this just makes me so content and so happy. Exactly. And I told them also that when you have the knowledge, don't hold it to
exactly
yourself.
That is the reason especially why we created Wired Women, because it's about the ability to connect. There's a woman who's successful, who's done her business, and there's somebody who's looking up to someone to guide them, to hold their hand and guide them into life, into their professional lives, and together we become Wired Women. So absolutely spot on. I'm very excited excited about that point you just made. What makes you thrive in your professional life, Jessie? How does that look like in the day of a film producer? Walk me through that day.
So my day, like honest, like right now I'm working on a new project. So it's been the first stage of my work is going into intense research. After I research about the subject matter that I'm doing, then now I craft a script. From crafting a script to casting, from casting to going into production. So every process of my work requires meeting new people from all sorts of life. So my biggest gift is to the human connection, to understand human behavior, how to deal with different people from different walks, because it's not always easy, to put everyone in the box. But also that, as you see, I look young. Sometimes I got to deal with people who look much older than me, and they have to get instructions and whatnot.
Ageism comes with, either you're too young to be my boss or you're too old in this business. So which one have you been facing? Has it always been people saying that you're too young?
Yes.
Right.
It's always like you're too young. I would be having a conversation, then okay, we meet, then I meet someone, then they'll say, okay, you sound so mature, but you look so young.
Right.
I was like, well, so, but my biggest gift is that I'm very technical. I know my job. It's the best equalizer to be highly skilled, to know what you, because I know technical work. I also know literal work.
Right.
So this gives an advantage, and then people get to have the confidence in what I'm doing.
Right.
This is what I make. I'm on top of my game. I know what I'm doing. I know the subject matter. I know the equipment I'm working with. I literally have the whole project in my hand, and I have to share that vision with everybody. Right. So that is what I walk through in any other project.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So I guess the next question that I would naturally ask is, what does it take to innovate, to be that innovative? And how does one understand, let's say, somebody who's coming into your life as your mentee, and they haven't yet identified what exactly that they want to do? How is it that they can understand their business idea value and have that aha moment, the conviction to know that that's the one, kind of the way you did? Maybe you could start by telling us how you felt, and then share as to how the other person can recognize the same feeling.
Okay. So the first thing is, when you identify your passion or what you want to do, it's something that you don't struggle at doing it. You just flourish in it. It's easy. It's not something that you feel forced. And then when you're away from it, it makes you sick. Then you know that's your.
So it's a gut feeling.
Yeah, because for me it was.
Yeah. Go on.
For me, it's always when I knew film was my passion, because when I had so many challenges, when I was making my first film, I was 19.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I was young, a female, and in a European country.
Yes.
And the challenges that I had was everything to do with, she's young, she's Black.
Stereotyping, gender inequalities, racial bias. Yeah.
Absolutely. But those things were nothing to me to block the passion. The passion was huge. It was so much huge than what people can throw in front of me. Then that was the hard moment.
It was bigger.
Yeah. I was like, this is what I am born to do. If I can pass through this stage, I can do anything.
But let me take you back. So what was your aha moment? How did you know that film, this is it? How did you feel it? Was it a feeling in your stomach? Was it a feeling did you get goosebumps? Did the hair rise on your skin? What was that moment when you first discovered it?
So I will tell you the very first moment. So I saw this one post that they said it was in church. They said they were making a church film. They need writers. That was the moment I said, I want that. That sounds like something that I want to do.
Wow.
Then I joined that group. Then I was the most consistent, most committed to that group for 2 years. We went on, and then the project died. Everyone fell apart. Like I would tell you, it was only me and my friends that survived to date from that group. Everyone fell out. They forgot about anything to do with film. Me and my friend were like, no, it can't end here.
You just knew that you had to.
And that was the journey that led us to go meet Catherine.
Amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Well, just to wind this up, obviously, the main question that everybody would want to know. So obviously, being a mentor, you've been a mentor in Zambia. Would you say you are a thought leader? And if so, what makes you a thought leader?
I will say I'm a thought leader because my passion is just not for me. For me, it's a Pan-Africanism thing. You know, I think more community, more global, more of our stories. We live in a society where African stories have been marginalized or, dented. It's what the media tells you. Right. So as a thought leader, I want to raise a generation of other leaders who rebrand our stories, tell our stories from our own perspective. So I feel that makes me a thought leader because it's not just for me. These are stories about my people, about my village, about my grandparents, and I want them to be diversified into a more global world, and they should understand that this is who we are. Poverty is not our genre. We're people with a lot of other aspects of how we should be viewed around the world. So that.
Awesome. Yeah. I love it. So at Spotlight, spot on, just like you said, at Spotlight, we take the meaning that is defined by Denise Brosnium. She says that thought leaders are informed opinion leaders, the go-to experts in their field of expertise. They are the trusted sources who inspire people to innovate ideas into reality and to know and show how to replicate their success. And that's exactly what you've just told me. So that is exactly spot on. And I just love the way you said it. I couldn't even add anything more to that. So I know I did say finally, but I think I need to add on one more thing. That a takeaway moment for our readers or our viewers. So what insights and mindset skills do you think can help make things happen? How can you set your mind to dig into that superpower tool to stay afloat and sustain you in the business? Because like you said, from the group of so many young people that went into that church program, only the two of you survived. And so there has to be a certain mindset between you and the other person that made you stick around, made you stay afloat. And how many years later now?
It's been 14 years.
14 years later, you are still afloat. So tell me, what kind of mindset do you need to have?
So the kind of mindset one has to have is consistency. Okay? Consistency plus passion. That is very key to arriving at your goal. Also understanding that things never happen overnight. Okay? So there's always what you say, a real problem is it's when there's a pinpoint, not when there's, pain. A pinpoint and pain are two different things. So when you have your actual problem identified and you need solution to them, then that becomes your goal to do. Okay? What you need to do for yourself is to have your own identity. Okay? What I really did in my career was to have a personal goal. Even when you're in an organization, you always have your organizational goal, and your personal goal within that organization.
Mm.
And once you're driven by just someone else's dreams, when they die, you die with them. But you need to have your own personal goals clearly identified and be so true and be so fair to yourself, and also be good to yourself, because sometimes you reach spaces where it feels like it's not gonna get there.
Right.
But with my kind of career, you just need the kind of patience, consistency. You keep building on your consistency, and eventually someone will see like, we've been seeing her, she's been making films.
Yeah.
And then one day you hit the spot and everyone will be saying like, yeah, we know she's passionate, we've seen her films and things like that. So just have once you identify your own personal goal within the overall objective, either it's on a project or organization or your company, don't always expect people. That's why they say like, and people can go, right? Because they have their personal goals.
Yeah.
But an organization goal must remain, same as running a company. A company has its organization goals, knowing that people have their personal goals. That's how.
Amazing. I love it. I love it so much. I wish we could carry on this conversation, because I'm really like, you've just like given me that excitement, and I just want to go on and just listen to you forever. Your authentic story is awesome, and I would love to have you on the show one more time. So thank you so much, Jessie, Chisi. Can you please just tell our viewers again what it is that you do, and your email address or your website or whatever that you want to share with our viewers so they can learn more about you?
All right. So I make films. I make films ranging from fiction to documentaries to short films. I have a website. It's called www.jessiechisi.com. So if you want to check out some of the projects I've worked on, they're there. And yeah, so
what's the last word you have for our viewers? What's the one word you can say to our viewers?
So the last word is just go do it. Just go do it. Wake up, you feel, just do it. Just don't procrastinate. Don't say tomorrow. Just do it. Just wake up. Just if it means doing even a second of whatever you have, just do it. Just do it.
Just a word of disclaimer. We're not promoting Nike. We're just saying just do it. Thank you so much, Jessie. It's been I just loved it so much. Just
yes.
There you have it. Jessie Chisi, everyone. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day now.
You too. Bye-bye.